Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Ashley, and if you're new here, welcome. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Every week I share some of my favorite recipes that I make in my own kitchen whenever I have friends and family gathering around my table. This week we are making a delicious breakfast recipe that I like to keep on hand and freeze, and then that way I can pull it out and have a quick breakfast ready anytime a guest might be staying or I need a quick meal during the week. This week we are making lemon blueberry muffins. We'll go ahead and get started with preheating our oven to 375 degrees and making sure that the oven rack is in the center position. Then we'll mix all of our dry ingredients together. We'll start off with some all-purpose flour. We're putting this into a large mixing bowl. We don't need any mixers for this. We're just going to use some elbow grease and a whisk and a spatula. We will then add some sugar. And as always, I have my ingredients linked in the description below. We'll add in some baking powder, some salt, that just balances out the sweetness a little bit. And then a secret ingredient that I like to use, which is completely optional, is some lemon juice powder. So I like to use King Arthur Flour's lemon juice powder, and this just adds a nice tang and lemony flavor into the muffins. If you don't have this or you don't want to use it, you can use lemon zest. It'll do the same thing. This just gives an extra punch of flavor. And we'll whisk these together. Now we're going to add the wet ingredients together. I'm putting the dry ingredients off to the side, and I'm going to add in some whole milk. And then I'm going to add in 4 eggs. They can be room temperature or right out of the refrigerator, it doesn't matter. We will add some vanilla extract, and we'll whisk this together until it's fully combined. Now we're going to add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. So I have a little bit of a well in the center of the dry ingredients, and we'll pour in that egg milk mixture. And here we are going to use a spatula and just fold in the ingredients, the wet ingredients, into the dry ingredients. You don't really want to vigorously whisk because we don't want any gluten to develop when making the muffin mixture. This will leave a nice, tender, crumbly muffin instead of a dense, chewy one. So just carefully fold the ingredients together. It might take a minute or two, but they will start to come together in just a little bit of time. So I like to drag the spatula down the center of the mixture and then curve around the outside and then go around the other side. So down the center, around one way and around the other. And we'll just keep doing that until the mixture just comes together. Okay, you can see the mixture has just come together. It's okay if there's a few lumps in there. You don't want to make sure that it's completely smooth. That's totally fine. And we are going to pour in some melted butter. So I've melted some butter on the stove top, and I'm going to pour that in. And again, we will mix until it is fully combined. So using the same method of folding in the ingredients, this one will take just a few more stirs more than the last one because it's so wet and the batter is already hydrated with the egg and milk mixture. So just give it a little bit of time and folding, and this will be completely incorporated as well. All right, so you can see that that mixture is now fully combined. That butter really gives it a nice rich flavor and then actually helps give a golden color, and then also it helps crisp the edges just a little bit while baking. And now we're going to fold in some blueberries. Now you can use fresh or you can use frozen. These are actually frozen and they're slightly thawed. They don't have to be thawed when you're using them. They will thaw plenty whenever you're baking. And I like to take a little bit of flour, not a specific amount, just enough to toss the blueberries so they're covered a little bit. And this helps keep them from sinking into the bottom of the muffin mixture whenever they are folded in. So we're just going to coat them just a little bit, and then we will pour in the blueberries. Just take a towel and get all that juice off my hands. I'll have purple fingers for a while. And now we will very gently fold the blueberries in, just a few stirs. You can add as many or as few blueberries as you want. I'm using about 2 cups, and that will be what we have in the recipe linked in the description. But if you'd like a really blueberry muffin, feel free to add another cup in there. All right, so this is combined just a little bit, and now we're going to add in some lemon zest. So I mentioned when we were adding in the dry ingredients, I used some lemon juice powder from King Arthur flour, but if you wanted to omit that, you can just double the amount of lemon zest. I'm going to zest about half of the lemon, so about a teaspoonful of zest. It's okay to eye this part, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you, of course, want to go light on the lemon, then you can either omit this completely, or you can go extra if you like an extra lemony muffin. I always think lemon and blueberry go so well together, especially this time of year when lemons and any kind of citrus is in full season. It's just so delicious. So let's fold the lemon zest in. You can smell it. I love citrus. Okay, we're going to clean up these bowls, and I'll bring over the muffin tins, and we'll scoop this batter into the muffin tins, and then we'll make our crumb topping. I have 2 jumbo muffin tins that make 6 muffins each. I'm a believer that if you're gonna make a muffin, make a big muffin and really enjoy it. So I like to use the jumbo size. This recipe will make about 12 to 14 jumbo muffins, or it will make about 2 dozen small standard muffins. You can use either, just adjust your cooking time. Whenever you are doing the standard muffins, you'll do less time. I'm going to use an extra large scoop. This is the same scoop that I use whenever I make my cookies. I like to make a really big cookie. Again, if you're gonna do it, go big and enjoy the whole thing. This is about 3 tablespoons, so about little less than 1/4 of a cup. So 3 tablespoons scoop. I'll link in the description where I got my scoop. And we're going to take 1 full scoop and drop it into each muffin hole. So I like to use a scoop because it evenly distributes the dough throughout all the muffins, so you have roughly the same muffin size. That means it also will cook the same amount of time per muffin. So I'm going to scoop the dough into each of the holes. All right, we have enough batter left to probably scoop out 2 or 3 more muffins whenever this batch is finished. So I'll put this aside. We do not want to waste any of it. So that will go over there. And now we will put these muffins aside so you can see that they are pretty even in shape throughout. We're going to just put them aside because now we're going to make the crumb topping. So here I have a medium-sized bowl, and we are going to add in all the ingredients to make a nice lemon blueberry crumble topping. I love muffins that have a crumble topping on top. I just like the crunch with the softness of the muffin. It's a personal preference, but you can definitely omit this if you don't want it. We are going to add all-purpose flour to the bowl, a little bit of sugar. That's white sugar, and then we're also going to add a little bit of brown sugar. And then we're going to add in the rest of the dry ingredients. So here I have some salt, I have cinnamon, and then more of that lemon powder. Again, if you don't have the lemon powder, then you can just use lemon zest. And also a blueberry powder, again, optional. I just like to up the flavors when I'm making these muffins. I will link in the comments the blueberry powder that I use. It's just an organic blueberry powder that already comes in powder form, so you're not using a food processor to make your own. And you're going to use your fingers for this, so I'm just going to mix it up to where the dry ingredients are mixed together. And I know we put in the lemon powder, but I am going to add just a little bit of lemon zest so you make sure that you get that flavor. So about a 1/2 teaspoon. If you're not using the lemon powder, then you can do about a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half. So just enough to contribute to that lemon flavor of the muffin. And now that this is mixed together, we're going to add in some cold cubed butter. So it can be softened and it can be room temperature. I prefer it to be cold or softened just a little bit because it's easier to combine with the dry ingredients, but definitely not required. I just think it stays in its little pea-sized form better when it's a little bit colder. So we are going to rub this flour together to form a crumble, and we're just incorporating the fat around the dry ingredients until we have about a pea-sized shape of butter and flour mixture throughout. So this will probably take a minute or two. All right, we have this mixture finished. So you can see there's just some larger crumbles, but most of it is like a wet sand or pea-sized crumbles. It mostly feels like sand. That's when you know that you have the fat and the dry ingredients incorporated enough. And now we're going to sprinkle it liberally on top of each of the muffins. I like a lot of crunch, so you're going to add probably 3 to 4 tablespoons on top of each muffin. There's no right or wrong way of adding the crumble on top, so just sprinkle away. I like to take the crumble and make sure that it's in all of the little muffin wells, and then that way it doesn't burn on the pan, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of push it in a little bit. Now we're going to put these into the 375-degree preheated oven. We're going to bake them until they come out fully cooked, where a toothpick is dipped into the center and it comes out completely clean. That usually takes 28 to 32 minutes, depending on your oven and if it actually runs to temperature or not. Mine usually will be pulled at about 30 minutes, but again, do that toothpick test because that's the true indicator of if the muffins are finished or not. Let's go ahead and bake these. I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that I like to make these ahead of time and keep them in my freezer. Once the muffins have finished cooking, then you'll want to make sure that they come to room temperature. Then I individually wrap each muffin in plastic wrap and then put them in a large Ziploc bag and keep them in the freezer for about a month or two. Whenever I'm ready to enjoy one or share it with a guest, I like to take them out, unwrap the plastic wrap, and then put it in the microwave and microwave it until it's nice and warm. It usually only takes about a minute and a half, and I usually use a lower power setting, so maybe at 50%, to make sure that I'm not scorching it as it microwaves and instead just gently heating it. This is really a great treat to keep on hand for whenever a guest might come and you weren't expecting them, or if you want a quick breakfast during the week as you're trying to get your kids and family out the door. The muffins are out of the oven and they look great. They're nice and golden brown around the edges and the crumb topping is fully cooked. And when you take a toothpick and you dip it into the center of a muffin, it comes out completely clean. There's not any crumbs or any wet batter that comes out, so that's how we know that they're finished. We'll let them cool in the muffin tins on a cooling rack on the counter for about 5 minutes. Then we'll flip them out of the muffin containers and let them completely finish cooling until they're at room temperature. Then you can enjoy one, or like I mentioned earlier, you can wrap it into plastic wrap and put it into the freezer to enjoy any morning of your choosing. Now it's time to give these muffins a taste test. I'm going to just cut it in half. I want to make sure that I get enough of the crumble on the taste test. Great, I've got a good little bite here. You can taste the lemon right away. It's nice and bright, and then you get the fruitiness of the blueberry right afterwards. And the muffin is nice and tender, and then you have the crunchiness of the crumble top on top. A little hint of cinnamon. This is an awesome breakfast treat to keep on hand. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen today as we made an awesome breakfast treat, lemon blueberry muffins. This is a great thing to have on hand or make day of for your guests. If you liked today's episode, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I post new content every week on what I'm making and serving around my own table when friends and family come over. Until next time, cook great food in your kitchen, share it with those that you love around your table, and we'll see you soon. Did you know I'm a personal chef? Head on over to www.southernwithafrenchtwist.com to learn more about my services.